Hello everyone and welcome to Apocryph Gaming. First of all, I want to say right from the outset that I'm going to talk about a number of companies and creators in this video. This is not a sponsored video and I've had no requests to do this. I'm talking about these creators out of a genuine personal love for them and to give a little exposure to one in particular that I've had a really good experience working with. But today we're going to talk about everyone's favourite collectible in the tabletop world. They are the Weavers of Fate, the Tellers of Fortune. So make sure you keep those filthy goblins out to steal your click-clacks at bay, because we're here to talk about dice. There are many companies who make dice, of course. Chessex is the best known producer, and then you have smaller companies who make really good dice sets. Paladin Roleplaying, for example, best known for their very crisp, clean metal dice. Artisan Dice are famous for making some of the most amazing sets out of the world's most exotic materials. They even make sets, I believe, out of actual mammoth ivory for several $1,000 or pounds, whatever currency you want to use. Personally, I have a deep need for their malachite set, but I don't have 400 odd quid to drop on a dice set. I just can't afford it. Sad times. D & Dice also have some gorgeous dice available. I once had a beautiful gold-plated set that my parents bought me for Christmas one year, and it was my prize set for a time. I absolutely adored it. And then, just before Christmas, everything was stolen. I lost all my D&D stuff. The books, the dice, the minis, the battle mats, the whole binders of campaigns, notes and sessions, handmade props, everything gone, including my prize set. You can probably tell I'm still a little bit salty about that. The thing is, for the money it costs to replace a single precious set like that, and they're easily 100 quid a set by the way, it makes more sense to turn over to the ever-growing community of individual dice makers. Dice making can be a hobby. It's easy enough to learn but very difficult to master, and many people make dice for commissions. So I look online and it's a mixed bag. There are some horror stories out there about commissions gone wrong, or Kickstarter projects taking years to be fulfilled, if they ever are. But I've had 3D20s made by one guy in particular who is absolutely amazing to work with. So I want to spend a bit of time talking about him and celebrating his work. This guy is Kusik. He makes some of the most beautiful dice I've ever seen, and he showcases his work on his Instagram, Grim Styles Art, link in the description below. It's through him that I discovered something wonderful called Liquid Center Dice. It's something you don't tend to see from the mass-produced companies and things like that. I've only ever seen it by individual creators. Liquid center dice are exactly what it says on the tin, plastic D20s, or of course other dice types, D6s and D4s and what have you, with a translucent shell and a liquid swirl in the centre. They give dice an almost arcane feel to them, especially when you look at them really closely, which is why I had one made for my Dragonborn sorcerer, Roshan Zathura, who is my channel's mascot if you're wondering. This is my custom D20 made by Aaron, codenamed Black Dragon. It's for my Black Dragonborn sorcerer, and features a dark emerald shell with green and black liquid swirl and gold numbering. Not going to lie, this is my favourite of the three. It's absolutely beautiful. Aaron worked very closely with me on this. It's actually one success out of several attempts. A previous success was made with a resin that didn't quite cope with extreme temperatures well. And that was fine. It became apparent though that the USPS Postal Service don't temperature control their airmail cargo. So when the dice arrived, the resin had started to warp and the liquid centre was corrupted. Thankfully, Aaron very kindly made me another with better resin that was more resistant to temperature. And here we are, better than ever before. This is Ancient Fireball, a variation of Aaron's original design that featured Nordic runes instead of numbers. It's not a liquid centre like the other, but the various reds and orange flecks make it look like a rather intense fire, and the charcoal numbering gives it a very sort of smoky aesthetic. It was originally intended for my other character, Red Wild Blood, seen here defending this video from the filthy dice goblins out to steal my precious. Speaking of red wild blood, the third dice is wild blood. This was actually meant to be an ancient fireball, except the new resin deepened the colours, and it was decided to be a different design altogether, as it now looked more like swirled blood than a raging fire. I went with the gold numbering instead of the original planned charcoal. We both felt it would look better against the new red hues, it would stand out better, be more readable. This one was actually a freebie. Aaron wasn't happy with the surface bubbles that you can just about make out, and he considered it a failure. But honestly, when you handle and roll the dice at an actual table, you're not this close to the dice, and the lighting isn't as good, frankly, and you don't see them. You don't see the surface bubble. He could easily have charged me for it, even at a discounted rate or something, but he didn't, and I'm not entirely sure why not. But in any case, I'm extremely grateful to him for it. Well, that's it for this video. These last two dice are just more examples of his work from his Instagram. But I'll finish off by saying that if you are struggling to find a dice that you really want, or have a particular design in mind that nobody seems to have done yet, do please consider commissioning an indie creator to make exactly what you want and how you want it. Or better yet, if you have the time, make them yourself. There's a fantastic group on Facebook called Dice Making Discoveries, link in the description below, with links to tutorials, and serves as a friendly hive mind of dice makers who share their secrets with one another. Indeed, I'm in the midst of creating a D&D craft room to make and paint minis, setting up dioramas of my various characters, that sort of thing. And indeed, one of the things I'm intending to do is get myself a pressure pot and some dice molds, and make some myself, see what rubbish I come up with. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.